Hello, and welcome to Teen Social DIYs. This is a make and take we do where we take a trend we've seen on Instagram or TikTok, and then we turn it into a fun make and take craft. I'm Lindsay, one of the librarians, and this month I'm going to show you how to make a tassel garland. We're going to learn how to make our own tissue paper tassels and turn them into a garland that you can hang in your room or your locker or wherever you'd like. So, in your kit, you will have found a piece of cord or twine, 4 pieces of tissue paper, and then from home, you'll need a pair of scissors and maybe some Scotch tape. That's entirely optional. You'll know when you need it. I'll make sure to kind of bring it up. But again, you probably don't. My version does not actually use it. So first thing, take one of your pieces of tissue paper, completely unfold it, and then see how it kind of has a center line already? It's not quite even, so we want to kind of create an even center fold. So we're going to fold it down that middle, lining up the edges so we have an even middle fold. And we do want it even, and then tissue paper folds very nicely. So just a quick crease, and it's now folded exactly in the middle. Then we're going to fold it kind of along the other line here, so not again down that same line. So here's our fold that we just did, and here's our new fold here. So we're folding into quarters. Go ahead and fold that as well. And then we're not going to cut down this top first fold we made. We're going to cut down that second fold to create 2 separate folded sheets. So I'm going to cut down that line that I just created. There we go. Now I have 2 half-folded sheets of paper. That's 2 tassels that we're going to work with. So each paper can create 2 tassels. So we've got 4 sheets of paper. You're going to have 8 tassels from what we've given you. Again, if you want to use your own tissue paper at home, or if you want to go out and buy other colors, go ahead and do that. You can make this as long, as crowded, as short, as sparse, whatever you would like. So I'm going to take 1 sheet of my paper here, and I'm going to fold along this top fold here. I'm going to make another fold about 1 inch down from there. And it doesn't have to be like a hard crease. I just want to kind of make a mark about 1 inch, maybe a little bit more, into the tissue paper. Right there. That's going to be my stop line. So I'm not going to cut any of my strips on this sheet past this line because that's important. It's where we create this little kind of eye hole here, which is what we're going to string onto our cord. So that's my stop line. I've got that folded in both sides. Keep in mind we're cutting through 2 pieces of paper here technically. And now lying it very, very flat on the ground or on the table here, I'm going to cut a strip that is about 1/3 of an inch thick, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. The thinner you cut them, the more tassels you'll have. The thicker you'll cut them, the less you'll have. So that's what my first cut looks like. It's about 1/3 of an inch. And it's okay if it's not even. It's okay if it's not quite the same on either side, as long as both sides are cut and you don't go past that stop line. And it's totally okay if you've got like a little bit of like a cut mark somewhere, like it's a little bit of a jagged edge. You can always turn that off. There are plenty of uneven jagged edges in here, and you can kind of barely tell because they're all kind of clumped together. So go ahead and cut those strips all the way across the sheet of paper, never coming past this stop line. So you can go ahead and rewind if you need to watch anything previous. You can go ahead and pause here. I know I'm going to pause and go ahead and cut all of my strips, and I'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back. So I've cut out all of my strips here. They're not all even. Some of them have kind of slightly wobbly lines, but that's totally fine. You're not going to see them. If you do have any cuts that bother you, go ahead and trim them up. The important part is that we have cut exactly up to and not past this stop line that we folded. So now we're going to unfold our paper and lay it flat with the tassels now unfolded on either side. So you want that middle crease that we created at the very, very beginning kind of running vertically here. And from there, you're actually going to start to roll your paper up. This is what really creates that tassel. So I'm going to make a starting little tiny fold and just start to roll around that. And your rolls and folds should be smaller than your tassels. It's okay if your tassels get kind of bunched. If you want to comb them out along the way and keep them kind of in order, that's fine. I often like to do it at the very end. So this is what it looks like now that I've started. And you want to make sure you're laying flat on the table. Nothing's kind of overlapping. The tassels are laying as flat and individual as possible. And you're rolling very, very tightly using your fingers along the way. And you want to make sure you're also rolling in a straight line and you're not rolling on an angle so that your tassels come out nice and straight and even. So rolling, still rolling. If you need to kind of fold them in on each other and gather them, do a little bit of a pinch fold to pick up any excess paper as it starts to get thicker. That's absolutely fine. And we're almost done here. Make sure to keep your tassels out of your way as you finish up because they will get very, very bunched up. And voila, we have what looks like, if you hold it at the center, 2 separate tassels. They do look very, very bunched together. They've gotten kind of rolled up in each other. So just use your hands and kind of pull the various strands flat without creating extra folds or ruining anything. So be very, very gentle as you kind of unroll things here. They're going to be very rolled up in the center. Just kind of using my hands to pull everything through. Make sure it's sticking out in the correct direction. So again, if you wanted to do that while you went, that is certainly a good way to do it. I tend to just kind of do it at the end. Either way works fine. So now we've got 2 even, wonderful, almost even. There's one that does not want to go. There we go. Tassels here, and we turn them into one by twisting. And this is where you can use tape, especially if you think you're going to be hanging it somewhere where there's a lot of fan or wind. We'll go ahead and fold it in half along that fold line again. Pinch right where the stop line was, and on that stop line, just twist a couple of times. I got about a twist and a half in mine. And then that creates this little, I have to kind of open it up here, this little hole here. This is where we're going to hang it on our cord. And then we've got one nice tassel here. So just below where the hole is where we pinched, if you wanted to put some Scotch tape there for security, absolutely fine. I hang mine at my desk. There's no wind. I'm going to go ahead and just leave them twisted. And I'm going to go ahead and just thread it onto the cord. And that's how you make a tassel garland. So we've made one tassel out of half of a sheet of paper. So you've got another half of the color you just used. You can make another tassel. If you want to alternate where they're smaller and larger, cut some of your halves, kind of take off an inch here, or even more if you want them even smaller, and then cut your strips even thinner, and you'll have some smaller tassels you can alternate in there if you'd like. You can experiment with different colors, different textures. Some people use mylar, like a very shiny material, very thin. You can kind of use it in gift wrapping sometimes to make tassels as well. But I want to see your finished product. I want to see what you come up with and where your tassel ends up hanging, where the whole garland is. So go ahead and send us a picture of your final product to youth@winnetcalibrary.org. We're very excited to see what you make with us this month, and we'll see you again next month for another fun social DIY.